Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, November the 9th. Hey, we're going to have our usual crew minus Josh Herron. We got Tom, Gentry, and Lee going to talk their lakes. We got Tracy Robinson filling in for Josh. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Hey, we're joined by Lee Pitts, going to talk a little bit of Neely Henry and Weiss Lake fishing. Lee, hit me up on Weiss Lake. What's going on up there, brother?
You know, things are looking good on Weiss right now. It's the guys are catching a lot of fish, a lot of small fish, but still they're getting bit. They're starting to get in the shallows and get up on the bank. I've heard of a lot of topwater bites this last weekend. We had a couple of different tournaments on the lake, and about everybody was catching the same 10, 12 pounds, something like that. But it's the guys that just got that one good 4 or 5 pound bite. But everybody's catching fish, so everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Spinner bait was a good bite. The buzz bait, all through the day, not just a morning deal. And then I talked to some guys that had some really good spots come up on spooks on some of the flats out there.
Okay, crappie bite. What's going on with them?
They're getting there, and we're catching them, but that east wind, that southeast wind, really kind of hurt us this week a little bit. We when you could get a little sunshine out and get the wind to lay down, you could sit out there with them. But with that wind blowing, it made it difficult for us because right now they're still hanging tight to that structure, and that's what you're looking for. You're trying to find that deeper brush. A lot of small fish, small crappie are getting around boat docks. So that's one of the things too that we the water temperature is still upper 60s, 70, 71. We need that water temp to come on down.
All right, Neely Henry. I know there's not much current going on, but this cooler weather and the short nights, they've got to be kind of, or long nights, the short days, I got to kind of push that bite along a little bit, right?
It is, and you know what's so weird? The weekend and earlier in the week, the water was up, so you could. It was probably 5, 6 inches low. It came back up, and then as they started dropping it, we had just a little push of some flow coming through that got the fish positions. But just like you're talking about, there's not much current coming through there now. Fish are on whatever structure they can get, on rocks. Long points with some gravel on it has been real good too. But if you can find that brush cover, and especially with the sunshine around these docks that's got 2, 3 foot of water on them, that's been your key.
Yeah, and it still seems like it's main river stuff too. Are the crappie out there, or are they kind of moving in
They
yet?
are, yeah. The crappie are still out there. It's like everything's found them a little holding pattern right now, and they're just sitting out there waiting. The some of the brush piles out in that 12, 14 foot of water, you can see a lot of fish on them. The thing is, you catch one or two, that they just lock down. You got to leave them alone for about 15, 20 minutes, and you can come right back to them.
So find yourself a couple of groups of crappie, and you might be able to fill the boat. Brother, I appreciate everything. We will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, we got Tom Ott with us. He's going to talk a little Guntersville fishing. Tom, I know we've not had much rain, we've not had much water movement, but are the fish still doing their thing?
They really are. Things are still pretty stable right now, Dano. We've got some water that's supposed to be coming in. I think that's just going to kind of boost the activity a little bit. There's a lot of buzzbait fish being caught. Top water if you can get through the eel grass, that kind of thing. But the fish are really just keying hard on these shad right now. So anywhere you're finding a lot of shad, the bigger shad, where you're going to find your bigger groups of fish anyway. But those things are just, they're running, getting up in the shallow waters later in the afternoon, out on the edges of the grass, maybe in some of your shallower ditch areas during the morning times. But I mean, it's been so mild, it's kind of hard to say that, the morning's better than the afternoon or vice versa. It's still, things are just still happening well. I think a lot of the fish have moved off some of the real deep structure and started to follow that bait up. And that's just been the key, is covering a lot of water, throwing something that's going to mimic some bait fish. Like I said last week, A-rig's been really killing them. You can catch a lot of fish on a single swim bait, spinner bait, anything like that is really, really just the fish are just extremely hungry, it seems, and just going after that stuff. So, it's a good time to be out there. It's not too cold. It's real mild. The weather's been nice. It's a great time to be out on the lake for sure.
All right, so let's talk about crappie, other species. Are you seeing the crappie bite? Are there catfish going? Are you seeing any strike moving? What's going on?
Well, the catfish are a lot like they follow the crappie a lot. They'll follow those bait fish up into the creeks. So you're seeing a lot of bass following the bait up into the creeks too. So you scopers, I mean, everybody's seen the pictures. I mean, these scopers are killing some of the large fish out there, but and I don't mean killing, but catching some really big fish. But the crappie I haven't really seen them moving into the creeks as of yet. They're still kind of hanging out there at the mouths. The causeways are still, still very popular. People are catching fish, whether it be a minnow day or a jig day. I think it just depends on the mood of the crappie. But, catching a lot of crappie. But as far as moving up into the creeks, the majority of those fish are still staying in that 15 foot of water, maybe hanging off a stump, a brush pile, something like that. But they're just really not making that move shallow yet.
Okay.
I think we still need a few more days of cold weather.
All right. Well, brother, I appreciate it. Thanks for everything that you do, and we will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, we got Gentry Gordy here on the line. We're going to talk a little bit of Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. Pick your poison. Gentry, where do you want to start this week?
We'll start at Martin, Dano. I'm going to reiterate some of the things the guys have said. Man, it's stagnant. I mean, the fish are biting, but the weather is just the same.
Yeah.
The cloud cover is helping, but for me, as far as Martin and Jordan goes, the afternoon bite has been better. And any time in the month of November, I don't, you follow the Alabama River, it don't matter. This is when I pick up a crankbait. I always throw a buzz bait. I always throw a top water bait, but so does everybody else. Some of my better trips, come in November on a, like a 5XD or I still have a bunch of the old Bandit Ledge series, which you can't find no more. But getting in the mouth of the creeks in the afternoons, for some reason, it seems like the bait's there. So it's jerk bait, top water plug, but my better fish are coming on crankbaits because I'm getting up under that bait.
So you're hitting in that 10, 12, 15 foot of water range is what you're looking at?
Oh, yeah. And even, especially if I can find a good brush pile or something in the mouth of a creek that's sitting at about 8 feet where I can really drive that crankbait into it. And then, as soon as it pops over, it's hang on time.
Okay. All right. Let's turn to Jordan Lake. I know Jordan can be really, really good if there's current, but we're not seeing much. Are the fish moving there?
Yeah, it's, if you can't, if you can look at the app and see the current, of course, get up the river and get in the mouth of them canals, but it's hit or miss up there. So I've done the same. Some of those long tapered points out, on the south end of Jordan, and your smaller creeks where, it's not the mouth of them because it's so deep at the mouth of some of them creeks, and they're there, but you got it's a swim bait type deal or a top water plug. But man, on Jordan, when they come up schooling, man, before you can even pick up your rod, they're gone. And it's been that way for a few weeks. But some of them smaller cuts in there that you can get a crankbait down to, or, some of them, and even some of the pockets have a point that runs out one way or the other. And if you can drag a crankbait over that, there's some good fish eating in that.
Are you seeing crappie fishermen out still, or are they kind of moving into bays and stuff, or are you still seeing them on the main river?
No, it's still on the main river. Like I said, and a lot of those trash piles, we talked about it last week, week before. They fool you because you think they're loaded, but it's the crappie. So they're still on the main river. They're still, you can see them hovering on top of them trash piles.
Sounds good, brother. We appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week, my friend. Hey, we got our good friend Tracy Robinson going to fill in again this week for us. Tracy, I know you're the man down here around here for all kinds of fishing information, but what's going on Logan Martin and Lay Lake?
Logan Martin and Lay. Let's start at Logan first. Logan, water's dropping a little bit. The fish are biting pretty good on both lakes, but completely different kind of bite. Logan, water's coming down, a little bit of current in the afternoon. The bite's picking up better in the afternoon after the turbines turn on a little bit. They're running it through the whole Coosa River system right now, kind of getting ready for the winter fall down. So Logan is dropping, but the fish are biting. The main fish that I've been catching, I've only went once in the past week and a half to Logan, but what we found down there is on the flats. I'm fishing mid to lower lake, Riverside down to Rabbit Branch on that end. But when you can get off the main lake there just a little bit on the flats, the water's going to be 2 to 3 foot deep. You're going to see them eating shad. I mean, that's the easiest thing that you can do right now is just ride until you see the shad. I'm talking visually see them blowing up, but a lot of fish are blowing up on the flats on the edge of the river. You can pull over there with your spooks and pencil baits, whatever you want to throw, rattle trap, but they're eating shad right now. So finding those bait fish, which is not hard to do right now, you're going to catch a lot of numbers.
I
Not
see a
catching
lot
a
of
lot of size. Go ahead. Sorry.
I see a lot of those small clouds of small bait. Is that what they're eating? Or are you looking for bigger bait?
No, I'm fine. Whenever you see those clouds about the size of the front of the deck of the boat, you'll see them blowing up in them out there,
Okay.
and it's not hard right now. Almost any of your, I'd say 2 to 4 foot flats that you're going to see the fish blowing up out there on the main lake.
All
I
right.
got in some of the. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What about Lay Lake? We got about a minute left. What's going on at Lay?
Oh, sorry. Lay Lake, I just came off the ABT there. I spent a ton of time there in the past few weeks, but kind of two main things going on there. I had a really good day swimming the jig in the grass down there. 13 to 16 pounds is capable there. You're not getting a lot of bites, but it's your largemouth, some good quality. You can jump into the creeks and ditches, and the fish are chasing the bait fish, but they're not up on top. They're in about 20 foot of water, and some forward facing sonar has been the key. A little bit of that activity is going on out on the main lake, but it takes a lot longer to find those fish. But that forward-facing sonar with some type of minnow bait has kind of been what's winning most of the tournaments of the past few weeks.
Is that just a better overall quality of fish, or is it just that there's more of them concentrated?
There's more of them concentrated doing that, and it's a mix of spotted bass and largemouth whenever you're chasing those fish out there right now. When you get in that grass, it's largemouth only, but the quality's there. But it's hard to do that for multiple days in a row, catching that quality in the grass.
Okay, so if a guy doesn't have forward-facing sonar, doesn't like using it, what's the way to find those fish to be able to throw at them?
Like I said, those volumes of fish are kind of in the creek. They're following the shad on that natural fall migration. So if you don't have that forward-facing sonar, your points are where they're mostly congregated around. So you can get in those on those points just like you would 10 years ago before forward-facing sonar with your crankbaits, jerk baits, and that's where those fish are. It'll take a lot of hit and miss and hitting those top points. But if you'll go through those creeks, kind of the mid back side portion of the creek, crankbaits and jerk baits, you'll find some fish.
Brother, we appreciate everything. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon. Well, that'll wrap up our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, the 9th of November. Thanks to the guys for everything that they do to help us catch a few more fish. Hey, stop on by Bucks Island. We got inventory for you to look at. We know people are starting to feel like it's time. It's time to get going. It's time to get fishing. It's time to get boating. This fall bite is picking up. If you've been looking for that dream boat, we're here. Come see us at Bucks Island. Of course, if you want to keep your boat running, come see Misty and everybody in the service department, or Pat and everybody in the parts. And of course, you're looking for that lure upstairs, go see Colin and Jamie. We're here for you. We appreciate you. You're the best part of Bucks Island, and we will talk to you soon.